Welcome to CityLife TV. I'm Danae Jones and today I'm joined by David Murphy and Sharyon Murphy of Remax Real Estate Cairns. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
The rental market is really tight at the moment. What advice have you got for people out there trying to find a rental property?
Filling out your application is key, making sure all the information is there so that your application is considered, because if it's not complete, it will be moved on and the next application will be processed. When you've got 20 or more applications in front of you, having that completed in full is key. And also don't forget about our pet-friendly properties. Make sure they have all the information, photos, references for your pets, because they are considered. And then the next thing would be to also be flexible in your location, to move to a different location rather than just say south side or north side, and just have that little bit of extra driving time, maybe what you might need to look at.
Which far north Queenslanders typically hate, don't they?
Yeah, it's not that far.
Whereas down south they're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
But I guess that is a really key tip. I know we were chatting off camera and you said to me that is something that, given the market and the way that it is, people just have to be flexible.
Yes, you definitely have to be flexible. So I know you may want to be in a certain school catchment area. That with the market, unfortunately, you do have to be flexible in your search for your new home.
And you said before, I guess it's not a long-term decision necessarily for some of those people. It can be a short-term relocation until the market eases.
Yeah, so you've got 6 and 12 months and it goes by pretty quick. So you may have to just relocate to a certain suburb for the interim and then be on the search again for the right home.
You were saying before also income testing and paying your rent on time is also a key criteria when looking at tenants.
Definitely. So first thing we do a ticket check, which is the Tenancies Information Centre for not only Australia and New Zealand. So if you're a bad paying tenant, you will be on there. So then we look at your affordability. So it must be no more than a third of your income. If you meet that criteria, then we'll go to your rental history. And it's so important that you pay your rent on time, because if it is not on time, we'll go to the next one and keep processing the application. So we do look at some certain key facts on your application form.
And so we were talking about before, because of COVID, there has been some people have lost their job and sometimes some rental payments might have been late. Is there any consideration given to that?
Yes, definitely. So we do go back over the applications and we'll pull out the ones that we feel will be the right fit for the property. And then we'll go back and say there could be a minor glitch in some of their rental payments, so we'll go back and ask further questions and get the right information. If we feel comfortable with what we see and hear, then we'll take the next steps. So it's important that we find out the whole story. I know we seem like we're wanting to know every single bit about you, but for us it's important that we're putting the right tenant and the right fit of tenant for that property.
So David, for investors out there at the moment, it's a really good time to enter the market, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. So I think it's a very attractive market, the Cairns market at the moment, just in terms of your yield in comparison to your capital outlay, in comparison to your metropolitan area. So it's easy to see with investment returns of net 5%. So you can see why it is an attractive place for investors at the moment.
So I know in the investment world they talk about positive cash flow. So are you saying that most of the properties are positive cash flow out there at the moment?
Well, with record low interest rates at the moment, I don't think we would have any properties on our books that wouldn't be positively geared. So look, the happy sweet medium is around that 5%, and we are comfortably getting that for a lot of our properties, but 4% net is still a fantastic return.
So rent vesting is also really popular out there as an investment choice. What is rent vesting?
Well, rent vesting is really just renting out your primary place of residence and then renting another property where you want to live. So that other property may be downsizing because your kids have left home, or it may have attributes that your property doesn't have. So it's just using your primary place of residence in the current market we have to really get a good yield.
So rent vesting is really popular with empty nesters. Why is that?
Well, they've got a large asset, a large home, and we can get very good rents for these larger homes, and they don't need all that space. So they'll just move into a 1 or 2 bedroom unit. They may want to come into town because they don't want to do the gardening. And the other great benefits is that then their home is turned into a tax deduction type property where they can claim their interest on their rates, the land rates, any maintenance, if they have to put new air cons in. You know what, the air cons are 20 years old, love. Let's put some brand new ones in and we'll claim it as a tax deduction.
Well, that's a great tip. So rent vesting is really popular down south at the moment, not so much here in far north Queensland, but it's starting to sort of gain traction. Is it an option that you think that people should be considering up here?
Definitely.
Yeah, look, it definitely is an option that people should be considering, because your primary place of residence, you can get a good yield of, north of 5% net return in comparison to the rent you may be looking to pay if you are downsizing. So if you're looking to generate wealth, I think it definitely is a great opportunity to look at that. But yeah.
You'll be making more money off your rent than the money in the bank.
So for a lot of investors out there, some of them are very concerned about tenants ruining their properties. I guess, what have you got to say to those people?
It's key that you employ a property management team that has experience. We have come with a wealth of knowledge. Our whole team are actually investors themselves. I'm an investor, and our philosophy is that if I wouldn't put them in our rental property, my rental property, I would not put them in your rental property. So the story that I talk to all of my property managers is that if you have a bucket of money, you got $400,000 sitting there in cash, we have to give it back $400,000 in cash. So forget about bricks and mortar. We would like a bucket full of money that was given to us at the start, obviously with a yield. Attached would be ideal, but that's how I talk to the property managers. So make sure that bucket of money comes back full with a yield.
And so the yield is important because you're obviously potentially wanting to sell that property for the owner down the track so they get maximum value.
Yeah, correct. I guess one of the biggest things that set us apart is our workload too with our property managers. We really don't try and overload them with properties. So it is standard practice across the industry that a lot of other offices will have, north of 120 properties per property managers, and they may not even be experienced property managers. And that can open, a can of worms with problems. So our biggest thing is we want to oversupply our property management department. That way they get over-serviced and have a good experience. And when they do look to come to sell, we have a good relationship with not only the owner, but also the tenant as well to make it a smooth process. So I guess that's one of the key things that are paramount in our property management
strong
department.
relationships with tenants and landlords.
So you guys are a family-owned business. I guess that brings with it a lot of benefits for the clients, doesn't it?
Yes, we are a family-run business and we're a very close family, and we all have our own specific roles in Remax. And Ray David, they look after sales, the auctions, and I come with 30 years experience in property management, and that's what sets us apart in having the diversity and strengths within our own roles.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure learning all about what's going on out there in the real estate market.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on CityLife TV. If you'd like some more information about this topic and many others, head to citylifemedia.com.au or feel free to reach out to the experienced team at Remax Real Estate Cairns.